Today marks 1149 days share lessons I learned and continue to learn with all of you. My hope that these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today we speak about first step. First step. That first step a lot of times is the hardest step. And I'm saying all the time that it's easier to move from 1 to 20 than from 0 to 1. Because that first step is very, very hard. Because you have no idea where that first step will lead to. And that's why we need to ask, okay, how are we supposed to take that first step? Now, one of the best analogies is like jumping into the water. You can potentially go into water with cold water in a sea, in a river, very slowly. It will be very, very hard. Sometimes you can jump in, and sometimes it's very hard at the beginning, but when you jump in, you endure, you persevere, and you learn and develop that amazing activity that you want to do. Maybe you want to swim, and now when you introduce yourself in that a new environment and really plunged into that, sometimes it's much, much easier. And today I want to really speak about that first step, because the first step is sometimes the most important one. Now, of course, when you make a decision, you take that first step, and of course, you still need to manage that decision, and it means you need to take step after step after step. But that first step is the hardest one for majority of us. For me as well. When I take that first step, I just run. I just build momentum. But the first step is sometimes difficult because we have a tendency to procrastinate. We have a tendency to procrastinate. But one thing that I really love saying is that the longer you wait, the longer you wait. So what it means is the longer you wait to take that first step, the longer you wait to really reap the rewards of your actions that will lead after you taking those first steps. Because if you want to have that vision of your future and make it that current your reality, you will need to take those first steps. You will need to take those steps that leads to that vision. I think that we have a tendency to truly develop ourselves, grow ourselves, improve ourselves, reflect, build, plan. Those are important things. But first step is by taking action. Action, that is true success. They're taking that first step. And the biggest thing is that I think that when we think about in life, when you are 9 to 5, and 9 to 5 is not bad, but a lot of times we watch YouTube, we watch Netflix, we watch movies, we watch a lot of things, we listen to things, we watch sport games. There's a lot of things that we consume. We consume even personal growth materials. We consume that, and theoretically you become better. But if you finally take that first step, you potentially could become a producer. You can producer as a business owner, as a course creator, as whatever you are, but you're able to really create something, you produce something. Maybe art, maybe music, maybe business. It doesn't matter what you want, but you're able to produce finally and move. That for the first step, you're able to move from consumer to creator, to producer, to a business owner. Because true impact, true money, true freedom are by creators, by producers, by business owners who really go and make something by themselves, not just consume, but really make something. And that's very important. I mean, we're supposed to stop procrastinating and move from consumer to whatever you want to become. Second thing that I want to mention is that the power of starting small. I think that sometimes we're afraid to start small. We're embarrassed to start small. Because it might be that what we're doing now is pretty good. It's pretty high end. So now going from pretty high end mountain to small hill, small bump. And again, this is willing to pay the price through those bumps to make sure that you're able to go the bump, to a hill, and a mountain again. That means it will require time. Are you okay to really make that step, to really start? Because we need to really say, okay, what kind of small action could I take? So it means sometimes you don't need to really plunge into water, but you're able to start from a small action, small step. What are those steps? I think that we all know what those small steps could potentially be. But those small action steps still require a lot of energy. Now, for example, my first video on YouTube. It's a very small step, taking 3 minutes, recording myself and sharing my thoughts. It's a small step. It took me a couple years to do it because I'm afraid that how other people will see me, what they will judge me, I will be embarrassed because I didn't communicate the way I will love you. But if I will never be able to communicate the way I will love you if I'm alone, do it. That's why I know that small steps, even though it's very, very small, sometimes requires a lot of courage to do it. Courage to do that small step. And I truly believe that every single person will need to make that decision. And the power of small step is that the small step leads to massive steps. Number 3, and probably this is one of the most important lessons of all, is that done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. So when you look into those small steps, then look into my first video. Maybe I didn't do well. I didn't share well. I didn't communicate well. My video was out. Like there's a lot of things that it was not done correctly. I still don't do correctly. A lot of things I still need to improve. But the first step, even though there's so many things to improve, done is better than perfect. And my mentor always said that, like you're able to move shit to something, but you're able to keep nothing to nothing. You're not able to transform nothing. Nothing will always stay nothing. But shit or something bad, terrible, like disastrous, could be changed to something. So you can be able to from disaster to not disaster to okay, then good, great, and then expertise. So able from disaster to expertise, but from nothing will always say nothing. That's again, done is better than perfect. Because when you're able to do it, you're able to transform it, you're able to reflect it, you're able to move forward, you're able to get better. So done is always better than perfect. Number 4, this again, becoming a creator, becoming a producer, becoming a business owner. So shifting your identity, changing your identity. That small action could be the first step, or maybe even that step that will allow you to change finally your identity from consumer, from person who doesn't do anything, person who is lazy, now to something who creates, who do something different. This is very important because be able to say, okay, what kind of identity would you love to have in your life? Who do you want to see in the mirror? What is that vision of yourself? Who you would love to be? So it means that sometimes that small step is a first step, not just really to that vision, but becoming the person that you want to become. This is such a powerful thing. I hope that you really understand that identity is such an important thing because our identity shapes our behaviors. Our identity shapes our behaviors. So it means that when you're able to really sometimes even start with behavior, and that allows to lead to that shifting your identity. And when you shift your identity, it's very, very powerful. The way how you see yourself, the people that you surround yourself. Because now when you change your identity and you see yourself differently, when you are in the rooms with people that you see, now you can start to see that, oh, I'm part of this room. I'm part of this community because this community is of business owner and I am business owner as well. Because sometimes if we don't make that shift, if we don't take that action, we don't take that first step, sometimes when we are employees and we're going to a business owner event, we might feel that we are out of alignment. Something is off. But when we finally have that identity of a business owner in that community of business owners, if you feel that this is where you belong, that's very, very, very powerful because when you network, you connect with people who you are. And when your identity is a business owner, you connect with business owners much, much more easily. Number 5, I think that what we need to do all the time is celebrate small wins. Celebrate that first step. It might be that first step was disastrous, as I said. It might be that it's terrible. But being able to celebrate that step. Because it's such a powerful thing when you celebrate that small win, that first step. Because we're supposed to celebrate a lot of times our effort, because our effort leads to really great results. Not first results. First results are great, but if you get results, that's great, you celebrate that. But if you didn't receive results, that's all fine because you put effort. Now, when you put effort, you're able to get some kind of feedback, reflect, adjust, pivot, and go forward again. So being able to really celebrate those efforts is one of the key things in life, because effort will lead to results. Result sometimes doesn't lead to result because you're not able to really back that up with another effort. The last one that I want to mention is that first step is great, but the next step is really build momentum. So first step, second step, third step, fourth step, and really build that momentum, because first step will be the breaking part. When you break that ice, now you're able to build momentum, and that momentum will really allow us to achieve that result. Because a lot of times after the first step, it still will be required a month, 2, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years to build that momentum. That means knowing that after the first step, it will require some time to build momentum to really see the benefits. Because one thing is that when you take that first step, sometimes we believe that the result will come overnight. But that's not what it is. A lot of times when you take that first step, you will need some time to build a momentum. When you build that momentum, you achieve success much, much faster. And that's what we need to pay for. So I hope that you reflect as well. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? What are the first step into your vision? I know that you know that. I know that you know that. A lot of times I knew exactly what I need to do. If you do not know that, that means that's what you need to do. You need to reflect. And that's the first step. Reflect. Don't do anything. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, just sit at your home and think. No TV, no nothing, no friends, no nothing. Just be with yourself. And that's the first step. And I know that sometimes it's hard. Like meditate for an hour. It seems like it's a waste of time. I want to be a business owner. Now we need to meditate for an hour. I think that is a key sometimes. Doing something that maybe you feel uncomfortable. I think that we need to really sit down and say that I am in control and I'm able to really figure out my life. And sometimes, if you do not know what you're supposed to do, that means that you need to sit on your butt and really reflect. Because sometimes you know what you're supposed to do, but you neglect that because you're still afraid of it. Sometimes you know what you need to do, but you neglect that and you said that you avoid it because you're still afraid. And that's why I said that for first step, one of the most important thing is courage. Courage. And you don't need to have courage. When you take that action without courage, you will build courage. So I hope that you reflect on that, because first step is very, very important, very, very important topic. And I think that I hope that you will even write a comment like, what was the first step towards your success? So what do you want? What kind of first step do you want to take towards your success? And if you need some support, of course, you're always able to really send me an email. I'm always happy to really have a conversation, see what you're doing right now, and what might be that first step to really achieve your success. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.